Ladies and gentlemen, I've known Vivek Agnihotri much before the success of Kashmir Files, and I can tell you he's not changed even a little bit, which is really something that is quite remarkable in an industry where success can change you overnight. I'm glad to say that you remain the same, as combative, as contentious, but also as truthful and always frank. And Pallavi, in case you don't know, as Vivek introduced her, she's India's most successful female producer. So, congratulations. It's probably the most profitable movie that has been made in recent times. But it's not just about the money. It's the way it has touched people's hearts, the way it's moved people. And as a Kashmiri Pandit, I can say that it has made visible something that we all knew, that we all were aware of, but it has given us the words and the imagery in which we can now express what happened to all of us. So I think that the power of the movie is that. And it was, I'm sure you've all watched it. I'll take the liberty of asking a few questions first. And Vivek, I want to start with you and talk about this incredible journey which has not stopped. You made the film, and then the two of you have been traveling, correct me if I'm not wrong, since the 2nd of November. You've been going from city to city, country to country, taking this film, talking about it, and just exploring what it has meant to people.
Thank you, Kaveri. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for inviting us. Thank you, wonderful students. I saw all of them, and I remember my college days when teachers would say, "Tali bajao, tali bajao, tali bajao." So, तो जब तक मैं यहाँ पे हूँ, तभी ताली बजाना जब दिल से ताली बजाने का मन करे. Don't. So sorry, teachers, about it. Okay. So see, we started this journey 4 years ago. Yeah. We started in 2018, and we started traveling, meeting all the first generation victims. It was one of the most challenging and difficult tasks. I have, in my 3 films since 2010, I realized in this country the most difficult thing is research. Yeah. Nobody cares about research. Nobody gives you respect if you do research. And for a film, if you are doing research, forget outsiders. The film industry, everybody says, "Pagal ho gaye ho kya? You are stupid," And that's what people thought, that I was stupid. Why am I making these kind of films? But ultimately, we were making it for a reason. In 2010, I mentally resigned from Bollywood because I realized, and I was not a young boy who didn't know. I had spent most of my time in advertising. I had worked with some of the best brands in the world, and I went to Harvard. So why I'm taking this name? Because I knew my job. But I realized in film industry, this is the only industry in the entire world, in this planet, which has 0 penny budget for research and development. Bollywood spends 0% on budgets. Second biggest problem with the industry is, though it's involved in the commerce, but the biggest problem is it assumes, it works on the very strong belief that audiences are dumb, and therefore they keep dumbing down their movies. एक पैकेज करके 4-5-10 अच्छी चीज़ों को पैकेज करके बेच दो. अभी ये जो साउथ इंडियन फिल्म का भी आप लोग जो सुन रहे हैं, डोंट गेट कैरिड अवे. दे आर नॉट ग्रेट फिल्म्स. They are just working because there is a hype. So we said we will change this. And how will you change it? Without anybody's support, Pallavi and I started our journey in 2010. In 2010, from making huge, big budgeted films, multi-starrer films, I went on to make a 1 crore rupee film with students in Indian School of Business in Hyderabad. And we made a film called Buddha in a Traffic Jam, which was stuck for 5-6 years. And ultimately it released from 2010, it released in 2016, despite being nominated in Mami and all those things. Everybody discarded that film. Then I said, okay, just because it's been shot on camera doesn't mean that it's a feature film. It's a story. Let me take it to universities. And I traveled door to door, campus to campus, despite a lot of resistance. Nobody understood the meaning of that film. Everybody in the film industry or experts of films and the intellectuals, they said what, everybody laughed at me. But then I wrote a book called Urban Naxals on that, which is a legitimate word, and whether people like it or not, you go and ask anybody, a common person, and he knows what I'm talking about. Then we made a film called The Tashkent Files, which was based on Lal Bahadur. Though everybody thinks the film was about Lal Bahadur Shastri, but actually the film was about our democracy, and which even the best of the critics failed to recognize. Because when Pallavi and I, we were sitting and we said, what are these three lions? आपको पता है ना जो भारत का emblem है उसमें 3 शेर हैं. So we said, which are these 3 lions? And we said that these 3 lions are basically, they are protecting democracy. So why 3? Why not 1? So we said, okay, these 3 lions mean 1 is truth, 2nd is justice, 3rd is life. So a democracy should protect truth, should deliver justice, and should be answerable for your life, should protect your life. और उसमें हमने एक ट्रिलॉजी प्लान की थी जिसमें कश्मीर फाइल्स बिकेम द सेकंड फिल्म एंड माय नेक्स्ट फिल्म इज़ द दिल्ली फाइल्स. तो हम तो जब से ताशकंद फाइल्स बनाई तब से रुके ही नहीं. आई हैव बीन ट्रैवलिंग, यू हैव सीन, I go give speeches. I have never charged a penny for anything. I just sometimes go on my own to colleges, campuses, because I want to create as much awareness as possible about these kind of cinema, these kind of films, जो थोड़ी अलग हैं, जो socio-political films हैं. So 2018 we started this journey. We met all the victims of
met 700 people.
Yeah.
700.
Actually, we have met
Many
thousands and thousands of people, but that's the recorded videos. But despite that, I've spoken to a lot of people, read a lot. So non-stop we have been traveling. America में, UK में, और सारे हिंदुस्तान में सब जगह travel कर के लोगों के video testimonials हमने record किए. उसके बाद तमाम लोगों से मिल के रिसर्च किया, फिर फिल्म बनी. बीच में कोविड भी आया, और जब से फिर then in November we started screening the film in US.
Much before its release.
Yeah,
which
much
is
before.
a very rare thing for a filmmaker to do.
Yeah, I am told, I was in US, and when I was in Hollywood, so a friend of mine who's a DOP, and he was telling me that in the history of cinema, never before any director has gone and shown his film to so many people without being scared कि क्या होगा. यहाँ तो लोग बड़ी 300-400 करोड़ की फिल्में भी नहीं दिखाते हैं, डर के मारे कहीं नेगेटिव पब्लिसिटी ना हो जाए. बट वी वर कॉन्फिडेंट बिकॉज it's not my story. This story was written in people's lives, so we have just picked those stories and weaved them together. तो हम अभी भी कर रहे हैं. Now we are invited by British Parliament and at Oxford and at Pathe in Amsterdam, then Human Rights Commission in Switzerland. So many places we are traveling again. तो मैं यहाँ से कल बॉम्बे जाके फिर केरला जा रहा हूँ, फिर वहाँ से इंग्लैंड जा रहे हैं. तो वी आर ट्रैवलिंग डे एंड नाइट. वी आर नॉट स्लीपिंग. Pallavi, I have never seen any producer working so hard as Pallavi is doing. Okay, and मैंने कभी भी आज तक ट्वीट नहीं किए. फिगर्स मुझे पता भी नहीं है. क्या कोई पूछे कितना बिजनेस आज हो गया, आई हैव नो आइडिया.
लोगों को पता है ना, that's what matters.
But the biggest thing I want to do is I want the youth of this country to realize that unless and until you understand that any kind of violence, terrorism basically not just destroys lives, but it destroys the entire culture and diversity of a great civilization, your heritage, and makes your life bad. Unless all of you collectively stand up and fight that, then you cannot ensure a good future. So that's why we are running around. Thank you.
I'll come to why you always cast Pallavi as the antagonist later. And she's always either playing an urban Naxal. No, she's always playing an urban Naxal. Poor woman. But Pallavi, I want to ask you, what is it like to share this kind of passion and to share this kind of a bond with someone who you're married to as well? But what is it like?
Hi everyone. Sorry, मैं थोड़ी टेक्नोलॉजी थोड़ी चैलेंज.
और आपसे हम देखेंगे तो लास्ट में we will make you sing it.
अरे बाप.
Whether you like it or not.
First of all, so lovely being here. और जब भी आपके एज ग्रुप के सामने मैं आती हूँ, आपका एंथुजियाज्म देख के मुझे भी अपना, मैं कभी कभी अपनी एज भूल जाती हूँ. सो थैंक्स. You know, when Vivek and I met actually, हम लोगों ने कुछ 3-4 साल से हम एक दूसरे के बारे में सुन रहे थे, लेकिन हम बहुत एक दूसरे से मिलना अवॉइड कर रहे थे.
क्यों?
क्योंकि ये एडवर्टाइजिंग में थे, मैं फिल्मों में काम करती थी, तो मुझे लगता था कि एडवर्टाइजिंग वाले होंगे तो नॉर्मली एडवर्टाइजिंग वालों के बारे में हमें ऐसा लगता था दैट बहुत एरोगेंट होंगे, दे मस्ट हैव अ चिप ऑन देयर शोल्डर. तो मैंने कहा कौन मिले यार, इसे विवेक अग्निहोत्री से मिलना नहीं है. विवेक को लगा पल्लवी जोशी, हाँ वो फिल्मी होगी, उससे क्यों मिले. सो अबाउट 4 years वी अवॉइडेड मीटिंग ईच अदर, बट देन द रेस्ट इज हिस्ट्री. व्हेन वी फाइनली मेट वी रियलाइज दैट हमारे दोनों के जो थॉट्स थे एक दूसरे के बारे में बिल्कुल गलत थे. एंड आई कुडंट हैव आस्क्ड फॉर अ बेटर partner to be with, because our house is a madhouse.
I can imagine.
With the kind of energy that he has. इनको तो सुलाना पड़ता है रात को और सुबह सुबह
Like a
5:30
baby.
बजे. हाँ, and I'm like, मैं हाथ पकड़ के कहती हूँ नहीं सो जाओ थोड़ी देर, एटलीस्ट स्लीप फॉर 5 hours, नहीं तो बीमार पड़ जाओगे. तो इनके साथ साथ हमारे बच्चे भी वैसे ही हो गए. When we did Kashmir Files, it was a very big decision for us. तो मैंने कहा कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि हम एक कुछ ऐसी चीज़ अपने सर पे ले रहे हैं जिसके कुछ अगर गलत नतीजे निकले कल को.
Because it's an enormous responsibility.
Yes. तो हमारे बच्चों को ये ना लगे कि हमारे माँ बाप ने ये क्या कर दिया हमसे बिना पूछे. सो आई इन्वॉल्व माई किड्स इन इट एंड दे अंडरस्टूड द होल थिंग. हमने पूरे कश्मीर के बारे में बताया उनको, और सिर्फ अंडरस्टैंड नहीं किया उन्होंने कहा हमने काम करना है इसमें. और बोथ ऑफ देम वर्कड इन द कैपेसिटी ऑफ असिस्टेंट्स.
Okay.
और विवेक ने तो उनको ज़बरदस्ती कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स का रोल करने के लिए भी मजबूर कर
I
दिया.
must look out for them. वो JNU के scene, I mean, well, ANU के.
The girl who says free Kashmir,
Is your
that's my daughter.
See, this is a very twisted mind. Huh? All his loved ones are always playing the antagonist.
So we are all, all 4 of us now, the kids wanted to do something else in life, but as they grew up, I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Right.
तो दोनों ही इस फील्ड में आ गए हैं. तो हमारे
They're
यहाँ
both
तो
daughters? They're both girls?
Son and daughter.
Okay.
So my daughter is elder. दोनों का अभी कॉलेज भी ख़त्म हो गया है, so they are both working. और हमारे ही साथ काम करते हैं. तो हमारे यहाँ पे जो डिस्कशंस भी होते हैं वो भी we have
आपका डिनर टेबल बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग होगा.
absolutely crazy. और
But
सबके
all of
हमारे
you have the same view in life politically?
no. We are all different people.
So Free Kashmir really believes in Free Kashmir? No.
I think
इतना different है.
not free Kashmir, पर हाँ एक थोड़ा सा उस तरफ
Difference of
थोड़ा सा
opinion
वेयर
है.
हो रहे थे, लेकिन as you know how it happens in the institutes.
Yeah.
But I think after hearing the story of Kashmir from
Right.
us, I think I'm very proud to say that they know the right from wrong now.
Right. So what is it? Why are you always either playing a cross between Nivedita Menon and Arundhati Roy, which I think Radhika Menon is, or someone similar? Matlab, this is really unfair, no? Or fair, whatever.
See, I'll tell you what. In this film particularly, there were only 2 roles which I could have played, either Sharda
Right.
or Professor Menon. अब शारदा के लिए विवेक always had in mind that he wants to cast
A
a Kashmiri Pandit,
yeah.
because वो कश्मीरी बोलनी भी थी उसमें,
बिल्कुल.
और वो एक पूरा कल्चर जो है वो दिखना चाहिए उस कैरेक्टर में. Of course I would have in the capacity of an actor worked very hard to look like a Kashmiri, and मैं बोल भी लेती, but then we found भाषा and she was absolute fit for the character. तो उसके बाद तो there was only one character left, and मुझे बहुत मज़ा आया वो करते हुए.
Yes, वो लग रहा था. I think you could see that evil glint in her eye.
नहीं, क्योंकि आज तक मैंने जितनी भी कैरेक्टर्स की है आपने देखा होगा, I've always been very nice, very sweet.
No,
हंस रही हूँ.
in Tashkent Files also you were the liberal history.
हाँ, I was liberal, but I wasn't so vile as Kashmir Files. But इसमें because I was doing something that was not expected out of me, and मैंने थोड़ा सा उस कैरेक्टर को थोड़ा ह्यूमन बनाने की कोशिश की, कि मैंने सोचा कि इसका जो एजेंडा है लाइफ का उसको अलग रखते हैं. अदरवाइज इफ़ यू लुक एट हर, शी इज़ अ वंडरफुल वुमन.
Yeah.
घर पे लोगों को बुलाती है, गज़लें गाती है, वाइन शाइन चलती रहती है, एंड लिटरेचर की बात होती है, पॉलिटिक्स की बात होती है. यू नो, आई मीन व्हाट अ वंडरफुल वुमन शी इज़. तो ऐसी राधिका मेनन से तो मैं भी मिलना चाहूँगी. हाँ, अगर वो अपना पॉलिटिक्स दूर रखे तो. सो दैट्स हाउ आई वेंट अबाउट थिंकिंग. एंड देन वो जिस तरह से वो ब्रेन वॉश करने लगती है उसको बहुत प्यार से कि हाँ बच्चा, लेकिन ये भी तो देखो कैसे करके. तो आई थॉट दैट मेड अ वेरी
exactly. And Vivek, I wanted to bring you in here because you once told me that you are now Vivek Agnihotri 3.0. There was Vivek Agnihotri 1.0 who was a bit like Krishna Pandit. You were saying a bit confused. So जब आप college में थे, आप IIMC भी गए, if I'm not mistaken, which is extremely close to a university that we know, JNU. So what were you like? Were you confused politically, and is Krishna a little bit of you?
In fact, in all these three films, if you see, the protagonists are very much like me. Yeah, very much like me. Even Shweta of Tashkent Files is very much like me.
She's very curious and she wants to know.
Yeah. So in college, I mean, I went to government college. And
which one?
In Bhopal University, you know. So
what was the name of your college?
MVM, and then School of Social Sciences in Bhopal.
Okay.
So generally इस तरह की हरकतें humanities में ही कर सकते हैं.
और कहीं time नहीं मिलता.
So, and the government universities are very different from private universities because they have elections, they have politics, and then national political parties also run their own outfits there, you know.
So were you politically active?
No, I'm a son of freedom fighters. Both my parents were Gandhians and they wore khadi till their last breath. But
and they lived in Bhopal.
Yeah. And my father was a professor and then vice chancellor. But then what happens is when you come from such idealistic families, you want to break away from that.
Right.
And Indian middle class families are generally very idealistic. If I don't know fathers so much, but mothers are always talking about great values. You have to be like this, you have to be like this. Let the other person hurt you, you don't hurt anybody. They instill values of sacrifice. So you grow up, when you go to college, you think, you know, why should I sacrifice when nobody is sacrificing?
Right.
Why should I only get the worst part of the pie? And no, if everybody is corrupt, I am also going to be part of that system. So when I was growing up, that time Naxalism was at its peak in 80s, you know, in Madhya Pradesh. And I became part of the same politics and same group. I fought elections also. So in a way, I was urban Naxal. Not in a way, I was an urban Naxal. And we were throwing stones on buses, going to jail, not letting the classes run. You know, वो धरना दे देते थे वाइस चांसलर के यहाँ. So all that I've done.
Teachers सोच रहे हैं ये विवेक क्या बोल रहा है और हमारे students क्या सुन रहे हैं.
So
but this is the journey. It's interesting.
Yeah, but I did all that.
Yeah.
And then once I joined advertising, and then I realized that why don't we teach enterprise to our students rather than always complaining? And that is the problem. And anger.
Yeah.
And most of the anger is unchanneled and unreasonable anger. You cannot be angry about everything in this world. So what happened somewhere? See, I believe that during partition, yes, we divided India and Pakistan, but also we created a line between India and Bharat. We created an artificial India which actually does not address the real problems of Bharat. Now, a lot of intellectuals and thinkers are addressing all the students of India, how youth should be, youth dissent, freedom of expression, and all those kind of things. But the youth which is sitting over here is absolutely different. Their aspirations, their concerns are different. Then we have created a superficial India, which is students of the year. Not even one student like that exists. And we started marketing these ideas, selling these ideas, and we said these are the correct and the only ideas. A film should be made only like this, otherwise we'll destroy you.
It is called the Riverdaleization of Bollywood.
Yeah. So I also became, then from from Naxalism, I jumped then to capitalism. Then I started making these big budget commercial films. Same thing. that okay, this माँ ऐसी होती है, अब तुम सब मानो माँ ऐसी ही होती है, student ऐसा ही होता है. So again, that fluffy life and running after greed and assuming that audience is stupid. But then when I was sitting for 4-5 years after Buddha in a traffic jam, I traveled a lot. I traveled in deep into Indian small towns, villages, middle class, and I realized that this India is ready to implode. This is a new India. It's ready for Indic Renaissance. And it's very important to believe that people are really very intelligent and they will understand. Kashmir Files was a big no-no. I mean, who would have thought? So 3.0 is I'm not part of capitalism, and I'm not part of that Naxal politics or communist politics or social. All I want that Indian youth should believe in enterprise, believe in efficiency, productivity, and pick up the native intelligence and work on that rather than borrowed intelligence from the West. That's what is 3.0 right now.
Right. And in this 3.0, the amazing success of Kashmir Files, of course, it has taught you that people are not stupid, which you knew already. What else has it taught you in the way you've traveled with it, in the way you've shown it to people, that people are also ready to feel other people's pain, isn't it, Vivek? You know, that idea that we had that this generation does not have empathy, it doesn't feel. People want to share pain also. They want to share suffering.
Yeah, and see, I never had confusion that people don't have empathy. That's a very Western American concept,
Right.
because they don't have empathy, so
So
they
they
keep
think
talking
that-
about empathy. We have a lot of empathy. I don't have that problem. But
हम
yes,
तो हंसते हंसते भी रो लेते हैं.
हाँ. But my learning I would like to share with you, and this is something you will not understand maybe now, but someday this what I am telling you, you will appreciate it. Nothing in this world happens because of only your efforts. If something like the Kashmir Files happens, is because of millions of blessings of people. And blessings doesn't mean you go and touch somebody's feet and somebody says, okay beta Ashirwad hai. That's not blessing. Blessings come when you do good karmas. When you do good things, you keep getting lot of invisible blessings. And this film is a result of not blessings to me. Do not understand, I mean, don't misunderstand that it's the blessings which came to me. It's the blessings which came to all the victims of that genocide. The people who had to leave their houses, still they kept telling their children, please get educated, get educated. And they educated them. They not even once told them to go and take revenge. Kaveri, you will be surprised to know when I researched, I don't know if I told you or not, I was looking for hate literature.
No, there is no hatred.
There is no hate literature. I mean, कहीं तो कोई गाली लिखता हो, बुरी बात लिखता
That
हो.
is not our tradition.
There is no hate literature. But if you look at the conflicts of the world, if you look at Jew-Christian conflict or Jew-Islamic conflict or Islam-Christian conflict or America versus Russia conflict, you know, any kind of conflict, there is so much of hate literature. People write hateful essays, go kill them, destroy them, they have done this. But in Kashmiri Hindu society, there is no hate literature. And which is why I'm sure their neighbors, people they came in contact with, must be blessing them all the times. And those blessings finally have come together and they have manifested through this film. This is my belief. And I've experienced it. Things which have happened are of divine nature. You can't explain them. Like divine, you can't explain. So many things have happened in this film. I'm writing a book on it now, Kashmir Genocide. And I will write down, you won't believe everything which has happened in this film is divine. As if somebody else was making it happen.
Give us a few instances if you can.
Okay, let's begin. The origin. I was in Houston for some business meeting. And one guy told me that, do you want, there is somebody who wants to make a film on Kashmir. So when you next time you come, I'll introduce at phone pe to baat kar lijiye. And this is a doctor, Dr. Surinder Kaul, who works about 50-60 miles away from there. So he called him and he said, Vivek is here, at least let me connect both of you. And he said, where is he? So he said, this hotel, we are here. He said, oh, I'm just outside. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Wow.
And he came and he asked me, why don't you make a film on our genocide? I said, no, it's not going to work and all that. But when I was coming back, I said I should make this film. Then there was no money, there was no producer, nothing was there. Things were getting finalized, but everything started happening on its own. Bits and pieces, money also, then we also organized and things. But let me give you what is divine intervention. Now, divine intervention is, in 1990, Dal Lake froze entirely, fully, 100%. Never froze after that, in bits and pieces, small places, but not the whole thing. So from Dehradun, we were going to Kashmir to shoot. And at Delhi, we were told you can't go because there is a snowstorm. So whole day we sat at Delhi airport, we couldn't go. After that, we came back to Mumbai. From Mumbai, once we took off, the whole unit was stuck in Amritsar, came back at night. Then once we were stuck in Bombay airport. But finally, when all the snowstorm, everything ended and we reached there, on that very day, that Dal Lake froze completely. The shots which you see, we shot over there. We had to make our way in and no shikaras were. And the day we left from there, after that, all the snow was also gone. Wow. So as if it was, God created a set for us for 4 or 5 days,
Wonderful.
Things like that. Second thing is, we were shooting on 17th of March. We were going to shoot in Kashmir on 17th of March, but then lockdown was announced. 22nd, but we got to know on the 16th itself that yes, there is going to be some kind of a lockdown. So we stayed back, we didn't go. Thank God we didn't go. It gave us, suddenly one day I said, no, I'm not doing it right. First we said, okay, everybody, all the characters are going to be Kashmiri Pandit actors. And I said, no, I'm not sincere to it. Why should I bother whether the actors are going to be Kashmiri Pandits or not? This is a PR plug. This is a very Bollywood way of thinking. We dropped everybody and we revised in 1-2 days, I rewrote the entire script. We did the entire fresh casting and then we went to shoot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But why did you feel that was necessary?
Because we were playing to the gallery just to say, hey, listen, I worked with all Kashmiri. I'm so genuine and sincere maker.
Right.
So I wanted to get rid of all this baggage and we surrendered to the stories without adding a word. In fact, every word in the film is not written by me. It's people like you who told me, or people like Yasin Malik who have said this in public.
Yeah,
so we put them
or
together.
Bitta Karate.
Or Bitta Karate.
Yeah. Of course, we don't see Jagmohan, which is the only thing that we don't see. But that's because he was not there on the 19th of January.
No, that's one reason. But then I picked up a huge portion from his book with his permission.
Okay.
Right.
Before
so
he passed away.
Before he passed away. Before that. So if I had included Jagmohan, it was like Jagmohan endorsing himself in the film.
Right.
I didn't know that he's going to die.
Of course.
I didn't know when I was making the film, but he died while we were making
Right.
it. So that was a deliberate decision that, okay, we'll keep him away. It's like Gandhi making a film and endorsing himself in a film. So that was,
right.
Yeah.
So Pallavi, what was your reaction when you were told you're going to play this character, and who did you base it on? I'm very curious. Because there are those pictures of Arundhati Roy with Yasin Malik, which have been circulating.
See, when I got to know that I'm playing Radhika Menon, for a minute I was actually very concerned because all these 700 testimonies that we collected, I think I interviewed almost 200 of them.
Really?
Yes, and it was...
what was it like?
I hope and pray that nobody has to go through such kind of a painful and traumatic
Because
research.
also, Vivek and Pallavi, I want to bring this to you because this is a pain that has been hidden from public view for a long time. A lot of pundits themselves have not acknowledged it, right? They have not said the words, not even to their children. They've protected their children from it. So getting them to talk is almost an act of art. Yeah. What was that like?
I'll tell you the stories apart, the perfectly horror stories that we heard. I don't even want to repeat them here because, it's too painful to even talk about it. But every single person that we spoke to broke down while he or she was talking to us. And they didn't break down because of the pain, which was the strangest thing. And that, still tears me up every time I talk about it. The reason they would cry, the only reason they said in these last 32 years, nobody came and asked us what you went through. Nobody bothered to find out what kind of horrible episodes we went through. And you are the first people who are coming and talking to us, who's asking कि आप मुझे बताओ कि आपके साथ हुआ क्या है. And when you hear accounts which are so horrible about women, especially about little children, it just shakes your soul completely. And after having done this entire research and reading the script, there is of course the terrorist in the film.
Yeah.
But there is this woman who's more vile.
Yeah.
She's not picked up the guns and any gun in her hand, but I think she's firing the most bullets, So for me, I think I took up that challenge because I thought that somewhere I have understood that pain very well.
Right.
I've been living with that pain for the past 4 years. And this is my time for redemption.
Right.
Let me, I owe it to the Kashmiri Pandit community by showing this vile face of women, who carry this kind of narrative in the society. And of course, as you rightly said, it's based on a professor and one very fiery activist who's anti-India completely. But when making the character, of course, I used a lot of other...
it's like a composite.
Yes, I mean, I had somewhere seen Brinda Karat, talking, so I liked her style of talking. So कुछ वहाँ से ले लिया, कुछ बिंदी कहीं से ले ली, कुछ साड़ी कहीं से ले ली, वो बाल सब इस तरफ आगे रखती है, वो कहीं से ले लिया. So I made a complete character.
Getting into Pallavi's mind on this will be very interesting.
But that last picture at Bitta Karate's house where she's holding his hand, that is a very famous picture on the internet, and we wanted to keep it as it is.
Vivek, your thoughts on this? The part where you listen to these stories, what was that like?
See, when we started, so Pallavi, we decided that Pallavi will do all human stories, like if somebody's raped or father is being killed or cut into pieces. And I'll do more cultural, political stories because, like Mr. Fotedar, he talks a lot about culture and all,
right.
And a lot of people talk about politics. So we started in US. So Pallavi, first few days, 2-3 days I saw, she's crying. When they are crying, Pallavi was also crying, and she was crying all the times. So one day and next day, after 3 days, 4th day, I was supposed to interview. So I told Pallavi, hey, listen, we are filmmakers, and you have to be very objective and detached from it. You cannot get involved with the people we are interviewing. I mean, then you'll start thinking like them and we'll be biased. So please stop this crying business. Don't do that. And she agreed intellectually. And next day it was my turn to take the interview, and it was a political interview. And you won't believe me, I broke down while doing that. And for next many months, our eyes were swollen. Every day, abhi bhi aap dekhiye, when Pallavi was talking, her eyes were moist. Because even now, when I am talking, I think about it. And honestly, it wasn't about murders and killings that I have dealt a lot with while making thrillers and all. But it was, how can for 32 years you can ignore your own brothers and sisters? I felt so stupid throughout. I felt as if what is the point of this life if I don't know your pain, if I don't know your suffering? And everybody, look at the hypocrisy of the modern world. Everybody talks about all the times, if you see, as if it's an international dharma. Everybody talks about oppression and oppressed all the times. Even if things are normal, people bring oppression and oppressed theory into that. But nobody ever talked, not even one person spoke about the oppression of this human tragedy. You oppress the entire incident. And today, even if today you talk about it, everybody comes attacking me. nobody has a problem with the genocide which happened. There were problem that a film is being made on the genocide. That is the hypocrisy, and that is something which is very concerning to me, and I don't know what I want to make next. But this is something, human pain is a very important aspect of our life. If we cannot relate to human pain, whosoever it is, then we are failing as human beings. But we are like, we have no option, because the channels through which we should get to know about it, those channels are not concerned about it. And this entire theory of that people are oppressed and they pick up guns is all fake. It's a very stupid theory, because Kashmiri Pandits never picked up guns. Women don't pick up guns, they are oppressed.
Yeah, I think Kashmiri Pandits just picked up the pen. Yeah. अच्छा पल्लवी, लास्ट में आपको एक दो लाइन गा दीजिए, फिर हम इन करते हैं.
सब गाएंगे साथ में?
हाँ, सब गाएंगे.
हम देखेंगे, हम देखेंगे, लाजिम है कि हम भी देखेंगे, हम देखेंगे वो दिन के जिसका वादा है, हम देखेंगे जो लोहे अज़ल में लिखा है, हम देखेंगे, लाजिम है कि हम भी देखेंगे, हम देखेंगे. सब गाइए मेरे साथ. हम देखेंगे, वंस अगेन. हम देखेंगे, लाजिम है कि हम भी देखेंगे, हम देखेंगे. थैंक यू.